Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it's been a few days since the latest balance patch went live in Hearthstone. The meta is starting to settle a little bit, and it's becoming pretty darn clear that one class is really bad in comparison to where it was before, as well as, the buffs just have not hit the mark for multiple classes. We're gonna go into it in depth, why it's happening, what can be done to alleviate it, if anything. Before we get into that though, we do have our giveaway going on. We're giving away $300 worth of Hearthstone packs, $100 to 3 different winners. All you have to do is like and comment in the video and description below, subscribe to the channel. If we hit 58,000 subscribers, we will unlock another bigger and better giveaway. So hit that sub button, make me go broke, and the winners will be announced on Wednesday's video. So you have until Wednesday to enter. So again, hit that sub button, make this idiot go broke. Nova's like, come on, do it. Anyways, yes, I tweeted this out August 11th. It was, I was comparing it to day 1 Demon Hunter ranks, but this is basically the breakdown of what we saw for win rates across all ranks on HS Replay before the bounce patch. We saw Shaman way well ahead, well, at the top with Warlock, Hunter, and Mage, and we saw Demon Hunter Warrior at like historical lows, 37% win rate, Rogue pretty low at 41%, and Paladin at 43.5%. And then we got the like most unprecedented balance patch in Hearthstone history with the most card changes ever, with Demon Hunter receiving, I believe, like 7 buffs across the board. We saw Paladin getting 4, with 1 to like pure Paladin, 3 to recruit Paladin, and Rogue, I believe, getting 4, mostly to card draw, as well as Hulkius, the secret rogue legendary, and Warrior got 7 buffs as well, with Rage Warrior stuff getting buffed and Control Warrior cards getting buffed. But if you note, out of all these cards, the only really powerful card to emerge since the latest balance patch is the card that everybody, was like losing their mind over, including myself, Edwin. And yes, it's launched Edwin and Miracle Rogue to basically a tier 1 archetype. We'll take a look at that in a second. But the other classes, how are they doing? If you take a look across all ranks, again, it's not a perfect indicator. We'll take a look at top 1,000 in a second. You can see that Demon Hunter Warrior have improved. They have elevated to 45%, still really bad. This is not where they want it to be. If you take a look at Wild is almost a better picture of where they will almost want it to be. Warrior still, again, 45%, Demon Hunter 46%, but you have like 8 classes kind of within the realm of 50%. And it's funny that this format seems to be more diverse at the moment than Standard, which is a mode they don't even really actively try and balance outside of like, the odd nerf here or there to hit those like super scam decks. But Wild actually feels a little bit more reasonable. Kind of crazy. Anyways, yes, Demon Hunter Warrior have improved significantly, but still kind of like really suck. We'll show the evidence in a second. But Paladin's actually got worse. If you take a look, 42.8% on my graphic here, 43.5%, and it's been dropping every day since the patch went live. And it's like, how have they got worse? With 4 buffs, right? They got 4 cards. They're better than before, and a couple classes got nerfed on top of them, but other stuff got buffed at the same time. So I have my theory as to why Paladin is doing worse. It's probably pretty close to being accurate, but let's take a look. Top 1000 Legend, these are the archetypes since Hearthstone, the latest patch 24.03, and you can see what's doing well. Similar stuff to before, although Quest Priest is now tier 1. Remember when I ranted about Quest Priest is gonna ruin the game and be unfun to face? We're finally there. The darkest timeline has arrived. Quest Priest is there, mainly due to the fact it dumps on a Miracle Rogue. If you actually take a look at its matchups, its best matchup in terms of Rogue, 74%. It's not even that good against almost anything, but Miracle Rogue, if you take a look at popularity at like high legend, is like 20% of the meta. So you play Quest Priest, you're winning basically guaranteed 20% of your game. So it's kind of thriving in that environment. I don't actually think it's like an oppressive tier 1 deck. It's just the perfect deck to counter the most popular deck in the format right now, because, well, Miracle Rogue is near the top, 52%, with it being so highly targeted. All the decks that are currently top tier right now are all targeting Miracle Rogue. It is the deck to target, and yeah, you're seeing that with the big Spell Mage can do scams against it, freeze the board. Quest Priest's board clears, Beast Druid just is a faster deck than it and kills it. Even Even like Spooky Mage freezes Miracle Rogue over and over and does quite well. Ramp Druid definitely doesn't do well against it, but kind of beats up on the counters. So you have the whole rock, paper, scissors thing going on. A little bit off topic, I know, but I still do expect Edwin, there's a good shot this is going to go back to 4 because it is definitely dictating the meta, I think, in a relatively unhealthy way. Again, it's relatively early. We'll see how it goes. I just like to spitball that. But back to the topic of the bad classes. I just see numbers and I want to talk about them. We take a look at tier 4. Look at what's in tier 4. You know, tier 3's got some Warlock. It's got all the classes are present, but you got to go all the way down to tier 4 where you have Warrior, Enrage Warrior, Control Warrior, 44%. You have Aggro Demon Hunter, Relic Demon Hunter, and Quest Demon Hunter all hovering around 40% or worse. The only Paladin deck to even register a top 1000 legend, Silver Hand Paladin at 36%. The deck, which was irrelevant, hasn't been experimented with in years, basically, since, well, I guess whenever the latest expansion had dude cards in it. They buffed 3 cards for it, but when you're buffing 3 cards by a decent amount on a deck that was basically unplayable before, it turns out it's still probably unplayable because the support's not there. And the reason why I think the win rate has dropped is because people are actually experimenting with it when they weren't before. And yeah, it turns out it really sucks. And once people stop playing Silverhand Paladin again, the win rate will go up. I mean, all you have to do is take a look at Diamond through Legend and look again, tier 4. What are people trying? Pure Paladin. It's like 45% in Diamond through Legend. That's probably the only valid archetype I think there is for Paladin, is either Pure or Holy, or I guess Mech Paladin. Mech Paladin's probably okay. And then yeah, Silverhand Paladin at lower ranks, 40%. And Quest Paladin, people try to make dude Quest Paladin work, 34%. So the issue I'm seeing, why these classes are still struggling, why a Paladin, despite getting buffed 4 times, is still struggling, is because, well, first off, 3 of the buffs for Paladin were to archetypes that have been seeing 0 play because they suck, right? They're not good enough. And when you buff 3 cards for an archetype that sucks by a little bit, right? Not by a ton, a little bit, it's still gonna suck. And that's what we're seeing. And Pure Paladin got like the tiniest little incremental change, right? Like we did in our pitch meeting. It's just like, it's irrelevant. And the same thing kind of goes for Demon Hunter. Ironbound Brute was only good back in the day because of Glide and Skull. They're not there. Like there's no real support for Ironbound Brute. Aggro DH, like this card's good. It's improved the win rate a little bit, but it was never what made that deck insane. It was like the old Drekthar stuff and some other scams, and other decks have just got more powerful in the latest expansion. It's not enough to catch it up. Abyssal Depths never saw play, and buffing it to seeing play isn't enough to elevate it. And the same can go for the aggro DH stuff. They never saw play. Relic DH never saw play. It is improved, don't get me wrong. These decks have improved, but they're not at the level of playability of these other classes. And the same, again, we can make the argument for Warrior, is you have all these enraged cards that haven't really seen play, and just buffing them by a bit isn't enough, because it's not so much the card quality, it's they're missing key pieces. Like in Rage Warrior, doesn't have the card draw. It's just not there. And when you have a class like Warlock, which barely got nerfed, right? Impending Catastrophe draws 8 cards for 2 mana. It's hard to keep up with. And Control Warrior did get buffed, right? Like Tidal Revenant got its armor back, Shield Shatter got its sting back, and Slam got buffed. Bash got buffed, but these cards haven't seen played forever. But the big thing is Nelly from the Depths. They didn't get reverted, and those were the cards that carried that deck to make it good enough. And even if you did revert it, which I'm not advocating for, I think they were problematic and got nerfed for a reason. I don't even know if they keep up with the current power level of the latest expansion, the Renathal decks, and all of that. So the reason why I believe Rogue is, benefited is actually near 50%. They just buffed a broken card. They buffed Edwin. We saw this also with Wild Paw Null, right? They buffed a broken card before. It made Rogue playable. They had to revert a bit of it, and maybe that's what they'll end up doing with Edwin. They'll make it a 2-2 in the end of the day. I don't know. So yeah, so far the buffs, it really looks lost unless something is figured out. Warrior, Demon Hunter, and Paladin are just not there, and I really don't know. Unless you're buffing a previously busted card, like maybe making Cariel go from 8 to 7, something like that. I don't see these classes really making a comeback until they get better cards, more busted stuff, or better support for these current archetypes. We might see that in the mini set. We might see that the next expansion, but unless they want to go crazy and just buff the crap out of them, or do a more significant nerf patch where they nerf the top stuff harder, I just don't know how you make an Rage Warrior, how you make these decks work in current Hearthstone. And honestly, I think it's scary to go the whole buff the broken stuff route, because then you get an Edwin, you get problematic cards like that, and Lord knows what happens when this classes actually gets good support later. Those cards become even more problematic. So sometimes not every class can be successful, especially depending on the support it's given, and I would love to hear your guys' take on it. Should we just kind of wait it out, see if maybe the mini set will help save one of these classes or the next expansion, or should more aggressive nerfs and buffs be undertaken? I really don't have a great answer. It's a tough one, and I would love to hear your guys' take on it. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.